Imagine this. It's 1971. A family moves into an old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. At first, it's just odd noises, doors slamming shut on their own, clocks stopping at 3:07 a.m. But soon, the shadows come alive. A malevolent spirit latches on, tormenting them with visions of the damned. They call in Ed and Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigators who stare into the abyss, and sometimes the abyss stares back. That was just the beginning. From the haunted doll Annabelle, birthed the fires of creation and cursed to unleash hell, to the veiled horrors of a demonic nun stalking the halls of a Romanian abbey in 1952. We've journeyed through weeping ghosts in 1970s Los Angeles, poltergeists in Enfield, England, and possessions that make the devil himself pull the strings. Welcome to Red River Horror, where we travel those channels of fear. This week, for the on screen representations of history's most famous ghost hunters, Ed and Lorraine Warren, portrayed beautifully by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, today we're diving deep into the Conjuring universe, summarizing every chilling film from The Conjuring to The Nun 2, dissecting the scares and the lore and the touch of some of the real life cases that inspired them. All as we build up to the final chapter, The Conjuring Last Rites. Grab your holy water. The Warrens' work isn't done yet, and neither is ours.
Welcome to the Red River Horror Podcast, where the channels of fear wind through the shadows of your darkest nightmares. From cursed horror films and bone-chilling tales to whispered interviews and the desolate echoes of abandoned places, we explore every sinister current. Grip your oars tightly and brace for the journey ahead. Now, guiding you through the murky waters, your host, Joe Zakrzewski, joined by Red River Horror founder, Eddie Caiazzo.
Welcome back to the Red River Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Zakrzewski, joined as always by RedRiverHorror.com founder, Eddie Caiazzo. Hey, Ed, how's it going today?
A chill is in the air, the pumpkin coffee is flowing, and I am feeling fantastic, Joe. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I have not jumped on the fall wagon yet. I hold it pretty tight to the 922. I'm launching big this year.
Okay.
So it's been a great year for horror movies so far. We've got plenty more coming. Um, One of them being the latest and final installment of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. And The Conjuring comes to a close, which I thought The Devil Made Me Do It was the end of the line, but here we are with one more.
Well, as you know, Joe, the Conjuring films, I don't know how, whenever I post something to the site, whenever I post something to YouTube, if I post something to Instagram, well, the impressions go wild. So there is an appetite for these Conjuring films and a box office for these Conjuring films that I guess I just underestimated. I thought once we started branching out into different movies and some of the movies that weren't reviewed as high started coming in, I'm like, okay, so this'll level off. No, there is an appetite for Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as the Warrens, and so they're gonna close this book on the Conjuring universe, and it's kind of exciting. It's a little bit sad because it's been pretty strong.
Yeah, it has been. So let's take a stroll through the entire Conjuring universe from that groundbreaking original in 2013 all the way to the Nun 2 in 2023. So we'll hit them each in order. Quick summary, a couple tidbits, shout out to the creative teams, main cast. We'll talk about box office haul, critical reception. We're going to get everybody primed up for the Warrens' final battle. Or is it the final battle? So let's buckle up, Ed. The demons are waiting.
Ooh, scary.
No. So I went back and I was able to watch, The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, Conjuring 3,
Yeah.
able to watch those, a little bit of the Annabelles.
Okay.
Um, the Nun I watched again, this past winter, just on a whim. I'm just like, you know what? I can't remember what I thought of that, but let's talk about The Conjuring from 2013. The kickoff film introduces us to the paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, as they help the Perron family. Is it Perron?
I always called him Perrin, but I mean, Joe, like we're American. We can say if it's put up,
Fucking
Yeah,
Yeah,
we want
Ron Livingston, he's the guy.
Office Space, man. There's nothing more
Yeah,
American than that. But
exactly.
I just say Perrin. They may be wrong.
Yeah, but they get there. They're there to fight off some demons in the Rhode Island farmhouse. It's rooted in its dark history of witchcraft and death, directed by one and only James Wan.
Yeah, man. So when this came out, I gotta say, Joe, I was pretty impressed. I always had faith in James Wan. We've talked about it a lot, from Saw to Dead Silence. Um, Anything he usually touches turns to gold, and The Conjuring was really good. Melissa, my wife, actually mentioned it to me. It has one of the only, since the classic The Exorcist, it has one of the only exorcism scenes in cinema in what, I guess it would be 40 years up to that point, that was actually pretty well done, pretty scary. Um, The Conjuring surprised me, man. I wasn't surprised that Patrick Wan, or it's not Patrick Wan. Huh. I'm thinking Patrick Waugh, the goalie. I wasn't surprised that James Wan could deliver something like that. I just didn't. I didn't realize how much I would like it. So, Conjuring, Conjuring is a foreboding for me. 2013.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best ones for that decade. Yeah, it definitely has to be on your list. Hey, it's really fantastic, and it started a very confusing time for the movies that Patrick Wilson is in because he also has the Insidious movies where,
Years earlier than that, right? And that
yeah,
was Wan.
yeah,
And
but
the thing is, you're right. Like Patrick Wilson too. Like he's a big part of Insidious. So yes, like he's one half of the Warren team in these Conjuring movies. But you're right. Like Insidious, like he's the guy. Like the
yeah,
story's all centered around him. So he's a double dipping there in the horror space for the main. What is it? What they say? You're not the main character. Like I'm not the main character, but Patrick Wilson is the main character.
yeah, he sure was, and he knocks it out of the park. I mean, really good job. The fun part that everybody has with The Conjuring is that Ed and Lorraine Warren were real people,
Mhm.
before our time, that made appearances on daytime talk TV. I'm not going to dig too much into the reality of them. There's plenty of other folks who have covered that subject, so I don't think we need to dig too deep into it. The most important part of when you get into the Conjuring series and all of it is you have to remember it's mostly the names, and everything else you got to take with a very big grain of salt. And some of it's embellished or made up just for the sake of having a movie.
Yep, they take a lot of liberties with a lot of things, but I will tell you something interesting for me, Joe. As we roll through, and we're just on the first one, but it's an important one, The Conjuring 2013. As we roll through, you might find this hard to believe. I had no idea who the Warrens were. So
Right.
this was, and I know, look, I know there's a lot of hate. I know there's a lot of skepticism. I know there's a lot of controversy. But as far as how much they've impacted the horror genre, as we run through this, I didn't realize how many stories and how many cases of theirs in real life inspired so much of the horror that I love, at least like horror cinema that I've enjoyed over the years. So the, Ed and Lorraine Warren were brand new to me with The Conjuring 2013.
Yeah. Well, they don't use their names in the first one that they're associated, like the first movie that's made off of a case that they worked on. And yeah, no, they don't use the names Ed and Lorraine Warren in it. And that's the Amityville horror.
Oh, wow. Right, right. That's one of their cases, right?
Hmm.
So, and now when I was
So,
a kid, I loved the Amityville horror. Like that scared the crap out of me.
yeah, it comes from, the bad reputation that they built from, like, it's not really bad, but it's like they had their own kind of cult following, but not the best representation to the American public.
Right.
And one thing we know about James Wan, he's not American, he's Australian.
It's
So
true. Right.
maybe unless he gets on, it's like, nah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Or enough time has passed where like people like us who did not grow up knowing who they were. I don't know how popular were at any point, but it set the tone. And anytime you have a horror movie where there's some realness behind it, that always helps propel the story. Like especially from the audience's point of view, to make you scared.
It's a good point.
You know,
I
yeah, if
never thought of that, but yeah, there's always that, especially when you're younger, you don't understand when they say this is based on a true story. You're like, wait, really? It's based
yeah,
on, it's just like, well, yeah, I mean, they made a movie. It's it's cinematic. There's effects, there's actors, there's embellishments, there's a writing team behind it. But yeah, this
yeah,
is based off of something that happened. And I didn't, Joe, I really didn't realize how much the Warrens have impacted at least horror cinema that I've consumed, and kind of it's weird because it's almost like the stories that they've faced or covered have has kind of brought me along. And yeah, you're right. Amityville Horror, that's one of the first I've seen back in the
yeah,
day. So The Conjuring, so it was good for me to get introduced, even though these were um a portrayal on screen. It was good for me to get introduced to the Warrens for the first time, not having known anything about them. It was kind of cool.
yeah. So, and that sets the tone, and then obviously our lead cast with Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, they make it their own, and they do a good job. They have great chemistry together. At least I think when I went back and watched them, like they fit.
Yep.
Sometimes you watch these movies and it's just like, all right, the couple's not as believable, but they had a good. I think they gelled well,
Yeah.
and then. uh but one of the things in the opening, because you mentioned the exorcism, so I'm going to give you one of the first false things. So we know they're real people.
Yep.
Very big lie to open it up, and it seems necessary. So,
Mhm.
like, when you talk about the portrayal of the exorcism being in a movie, and you're Roman Catholic, right?
Oh yeah.
And in the beginning of the movie, there's a blurb that says Ed Warren is the only lay person approved by the Catholic Church to perform exorcisms.
Yes, yes. I was going to ask about that.
That's not true.
Okay, okay, because
None.
that was interesting. And honestly, only did I discover that like prepping for this episode. Like I heard it in passing as the series went on,
Yeah,
but I never then took the extra step to say, oh, well, now who were Ed and Lorraine Warren? Let me dive into them and their like other than their museum and some of the popular things that surround them in the visual space. I would have only seen that from the movie that he's the only
yeah,
demonologist that's not a priest. So that's false.
it's false.
Okay.
He's not a approved exorcist. And it's something to keep in mind is like, they did that again, adding that element adds to the like, oh shit, kind of like. But if you remember the actual movie, The Exorcist, even in that, it's being an exorcist as a priest is considered very controversial
Yeah.
and out of date. That's kind of a big part of the movie.
Yeah, they have to
So
investigate every case
yeah,
thoroughly. You don't just
yeah,
approval to do an exorcism.
yeah. There's not just some lay person in the 60s and 70s. You're like, yeah, this guy's okay.
Yeah, right, right. No, no, you're right. You're
No,
right. So, okay, so Ed
but
Warren,
it's
not a demonologist.
no. Well, he can be a demonologist. I mean, would you call an exorcist a demonologist? I mean,
Let's just say not an exorcist. So he
yeah,
can
that's
perform exorcisms.
yeah. But for the movie's sake, that's what they make it. He's got the ability to be an exorcist, and Vera Farmiga is uh, she's got the what do you call it? The Lorraine Warren, it's not a psychic medium. What do they call it? Man, I'm already drawing a blank.
It's I know what you're talking about.
Clairvoyant.
Ah, yes. I was gonna say someone add it in the comments.
Yes.
But
So she,
okay, so we're saying as we move forward, Ed Warren can perform exorcisms, and Lorraine Warren is clairvoyant.
yeah, so she can interact with the dead.
Yeah.
So nice 1-2 punch combo they got.
Yeah, they cleaned
Yeah.
up 320 million at the worldwide box office, Joe. Didn't know this till we started. As of right now, as of when we're recording this, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize until preparing for this episode how loved the original Conjuring was. And it is, I will say it is that damn good. It's damn good. It's a solid forebodder and a good kickoff to what follows.
Tell you, it's so good especially at this time in movies. There was a lot of movies coming out that were looking identical. Like, were the two like circus ones, the greatest, or like no, the magicians ones? Was it the magician and the illusionist, and then the Conjuring and a haunting in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Very similar. Nobody remembers the Connecticut one.
No, if I'm not mistaken, the Connecticut one was pretty panned, right? There's people like there's an audience for it, but I don't think it's liked much.
It's not bad, but the Conjuring is just that much better.
Yeah.
So the first Conjuring definitely sets the tone for it. It's good enough that there's no surprise that it built into a universe. Some great jump scares, great cast, written by Chad Hayes, Carrie Hayes, produced by Tony DeRosa Grund, Peter Safran, Rob Cohen, and of course we know it's starring Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, Lily Taylor, and Ron Livingston, our guy.
Our guy.
Now, really fantastic movies. They're like, we're not going to be staying too hard on these. We're just getting amped up for the new one. Any other words on the first Conjuring?
No, it just kind of it didn't close a door. Obviously, it opened up the entire series, but it just goes to show you like how good and how in touch with horror audiences James Wan was at that time. Like, I mean, if you figure that's on the back end of the things he's directed in the horror space, starting with Saw, um, it checks the boxes and it's well done. And clearly a lot of people think so.
I challenge everybody. You find me a horror director out there who does more scary shit with a doll than James Wan.
That's right.
Okay. There's nobody.
His creepy characters always look good. That's the thing. They could be goofy. I thought there were some instances in Insidious that were a little goofy, but I'm mostly by myself on that. People love Insidious. I like Insidious, but that stretch that James Wan had there that you could pretty much end with The Conjuring. I mean, that's that he's already done it. He's a Mount Rushmore of horror directors in the new millennium for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of dolls, that's where the first follow-up comes from in 2014. 1 year after The Conjuring, Annabelle, the doll from the movie, gets her own spinoff. So we get the origin story of the possessed doll. Couple in the 1960s in California faces demonic terror after a cult-related incident awakens evil forces targeting their family. I mean, not directed by James Wan. We have this one's directed by John Leonetti, written by Gary Dauberman, and we have Peter Safran and James Wan on as producers. And
Yes.
then, funny enough, we have, you know, we got. Well, I'll just shout out the cast. I'll just shout out the cast and everything real quick. So we got Annabelle Wallace, played by Mia Form, Ward Horton, played by John Form, or he plays John Form, and Alfre Woodard plays Evelyn.
Yeah.
So I tried to get back to watch Annabelle, and it it was hard for me to enjoy it, and I don't remember, like, it was very forgettable, and that reflects with the 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. People calling it a lackluster cash in, cheap jumps rather than being genuine dread. But it still made 257.6 million worldwide.
Right. Markedly less than The Conjuring, but enough to say, "Oh yes, we're pressing forward with this series." That like making Annabelle was a good idea with that kind of box office take.
It got people out because like it targeted people, like, if you really like that first one, you want to learn more about the doll, it leaves you curious.
It does, and this is pretty wild because when I watched Annabelle the first time, I know for a fact that I didn't like it, but I'm glad that I went into the Conjuring universe green, like not knowing who Ed and Lorraine Warren were, not knowing the doll, Annabelle, had no idea that was a famous haunted doll that, they kept under lock and key in their museum up in Connecticut. This gives a sort of a story. And when I was reading about the doll itself and then seeing some of the things that happened in the movie, it's like, okay, so we're giving this doll a backstory. Obviously, it's been you said James Wan has he does things with dolls on screen that it's just like, oh, that's actually scary. He makes Annabelle look very creepy, the doll itself. Uh you could say the doll is a horror pop culture icon these last 10
Yeah.
years. But again, not knowing anything about that there is a real doll, that's Annabelle, and it is a real thing, it is cursed, and it's a lot of bad things attached to it. When I went back and watched it, because I did in preparation for this interview, when I went back and watched it, I said, okay, it's not as bad as I remember, because I did not like it upon a first watch. It's not as bad as I remember. The home invasion element scared me. Um, the some of the cheap jump scares, especially with like the devil demon looking thing, scared me. But the movie as a whole feels like a not as well done version of Rosemary's Baby. And it seems almost as if, and Joe, I might get in trouble for this. Annabelle 2014, the first one, it seems more like a Lifetime type movie with a Lifetime type ending, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't disagree with that.
But
Yeah, it's not that great, but I don't know. I mean, we're going to talk about more in a minute. It picks itself up.
it absolutely does.
But so before we move on from that, I'll give you some Annabelle fun stuff. So the real Annabelle doll, we talk about the design for the movie, looks a lot creepier, much better than what it actually is just a regular from any Toys R Us toy store you could get Raggedy Ann doll.
Right. My sister,
That's all. Yeah.
right?
So it's just a Raggedy Ann doll, but it is at the Warren's Museum in Connecticut. However, that museum's currently closed. So I'm going to be going up to New Hampshire in October. And I was planning my route because I'm like, I don't know if I want to do the whole drive, like just planning things. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'll check this out. And then I'm going to say something where, Ed, you make me feel young sometimes because I'm going to say a name and I bet you never heard it, but this man is now the proud owner of the Annabelle doll in the Warrens' house. And
Right.
that it, Matt Rife.
I don't know Matt Rife.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
So he's very popular amongst the Gen Zers. I don't know if you would call him very popular. I mean, he's more popular than I understand. Popular enough that he could buy something like that with a partner. But
Right.
um, they say he's a stand-up comedian. I've seen him tell some jokes, but he's got a different style. But his plan, him and whoever he bought it with, they're planning on revamping it and making it so it's inviting for people to come in, check out the stuff, and even do overnights.
Wow. Hmm.
So I don't know much about the guy. I've heard his name from my little cousins, my daughter, my niece, like nieces, nephew, like nephews, all that. So
Well, we'll do a little something special later on after we wrap up the movies. We'll talk about the real life Annabelle a little bit later in the show. But Joe, on that, I'm very excited that we will actually be able to see it again.
yeah,
This is it's something I wish I would have done. The first time I went to Salem, Massachusetts, first time we drove, I did want to stop at the Warrens Museum, but it was back in 2015 and 2016, and it was literally only open on like a Thursday. And I said, you know what? I'll get there, not knowing that it was going to close for good. And then since Lorraine Warren has passed, and I didn't know it was all going to be gone pretty much to the public, but so I'm kind of glad this Rife guy is buying it, because I feel like that's something I want to see
yeah.
as a horror fan, as someone who's into that kind of thing, and um
But
it
that's the impact that these movies have had from the start. Like this guy, fan, now bought it and is going to bring it to the public. So, and honestly, if you're, most of our listening audience is from the Philadelphia region, and if you're not, It might be a little further from you, but it's only 3 hours. It's only what 3 hours, 3.5, depending on traffic.
Yeah, just
So it's not bad. You
don't.
just got to get out of New York City, and you're good.
And just some local knowledge. I used to take 202 to 287, and then instead of getting on, I think that's 84 in New York, like or when you get through New Jersey, instead of going 84 like towards like then you have to go through Hartford and
Yeah,
pretty much to the beaches. I actually the first time I went up, I just drove straight up, hit the New York Thruway into Massachusetts and cut all the way over. Now, that took 7 hours,
yeah,
but driving to Boston will take you 6 hours. So I thought, you know what? Do you spare an hour to just avoid 95 and going through Hartford and all that other stuff? And it was like, you do. So it's a little tip if
yeah.
you're to the New England states, but Connecticut's closer. So yeah, maybe it is like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it's only 3 hours. It's just outside. It would be a suburb of New York City. I'm trying to remember the town, but it's near Bridgeport. Bridgeport is,
Okay.
um,
Right
I
above me.
mean, yeah, but
Sweet.
like more like out on the Long Island Sound.
Mm.
There you go out there, you can get a bit of pizza over at it. Sally's or Frank Pepe's or one of those famous pizza shops because New Haven's over that way too. So
All right. I'm in for
yum.
anytime, and I'm in for seeing the real life Annabelle doll when she's allowed to be seen again.
Well, it's coming soon, so
Yep.
get ready. And you know what? We were ready for after that weird prequel, but as we know, sometimes prequels are just weird. We get the sequel to The Conjuring 2, 2016, 3 years later. So we have the Warrens head to 1970s England to investigate the Enfield poltergeist case, where a single mother and her children endure escalating hauntings tied to a vengeful spirit and Lorraine's prophetic visions. Direct this one, James Wan back in the director's chair. We got the Hayeses back in the writing, including James Wan and David Leslie Johnson. Producers, once again, Peter Safran, Rob Cohen, James Wan, bringing back the Warrens, of course. And then we have Madison Wolfe plays Janet Hodgson and Frances O'Connor playing Peggy Hodgson of the Hodgson family. This one raked in 322.8 million worldwide. So guaranteed another more to it. 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. So once again, praised for Wan's stylish direction and the lead's chemistry, though some noted it felt familiar compared to the original, which is fine. I'd rather have something that feels comparable to the original. Don't stray too far off.
No, you're right. This one had good scares, and the first thing I noticed with this one too, Joe, we actually saw that in a big group. We did the whole movie tavern thing for The Conjuring too. So I was trying my best to warm to the whole movie tavern thing because the first few experiences I didn't like the food that much, but this was the first time I was at a movie tavern where I enjoyed the food and there was a lot of heart to The Conjuring 2. I actually really did feel the relationship between Ed and Lorraine Warren portrayed on screen, of course, by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. This is the one where, she's having a vision where, Ed dies, right?
Yeah.
And and I was like, wow, like there's real storytelling to this. And I know it's kind of I know in the moment it could be goofy, but there's a moment where he just starts playing an Elvis tune right to the family. Like the family's going through this awful time. A lot of bad things are happening um, to the Hodgsons, and Patrick Wilson, he's with the kids, and he's with he just starts breaking out an Elvis tune. I don't know. The movie, yes, it was scary. It was done well as James Wan always does, but it had heart to it as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you talk about the scene where the montage of Patrick Wilson playing Fools Rush In by Elvis Presley, it's a big like, oh, they've got such a big heart kind of scene because earlier in the movie the girls are saying, their dad left and he took all the Elvis records with him
Right.
and they loved listening to Elvis with their father.
Nope.
So then he's got them, these kids are hurting, and he plays Fools Rush In. And there's a whole
Can't
whole
help
montage. Yeah.
can't help falling in love with you.
Yeah. Isn't the name of the song Fools Rush In?
It's not. The only reason I know that is because of my parents' wedding song. That's the only reason.
I thought it was Fools Rush In, but everyone calls it Can't About falling in love.
Sorry. It's still a very sweet moment, Joe. It
Yeah,
it got me in the feels, you know?
yeah. I don't know.
But dude, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It grows 2 million more than the original Conjuring. Uh, we have we have a universe officially when The
Hmm.
Conjuring 2 drops.
He actually has another song called "Fools Rush In," completely different song. But yeah, I was like, I gotta look that up.
We'll have to
Yeah,
let's listen to both of them. Just not on
yeah,
here because then we'll get a copyright strike. So we'll
yeah.
just
No, that's another time. I don't. I enjoy Elvis every now and then.
I do too.
You just can't go wrong. There's a reason why it was popular.
No, and then sidebar, not to take us off track here, but I don't know if you've seen, you send me like funny reels. One of the things I've seen is like there are these reels now featuring Elvis where it's like 70s Vegas Elvis, where he does something different to the audience each time, and it's usually terrible.
So,
So they've been cracking me up. Like the one he summons thunder and lightning, and then you hear like he's performing the song. Like, you hear the thunder and lightning, and then the screams from the audience. Whoever's doing them is cracking me up. It's called like the
well,
Elvis.
send them over.
Yeah, I figured you were all over that because I don't know why I started getting them.
I
Like
don't know.
the one that I couldn't stop laughing was it's just like, so it gives an anecdote with each of these reels. And, in 1970, whatever, Elvis, pulled out a gun and shot into the audience because people were being loud or something. So, and it's just like, whoop, Sally, whoop, whoop. I couldn't stop freaking laughing because
It's fantastic.
people are screaming. It's like, ah. I don't. So I think it's called the Elvis sandwich, but I will share.
Yeah,
Just a sidebar on the Elvis thing because it's one of the first time I've cried, laughed in a long time.
good. We like a good laugh around here too.
Yes.
Yeah. The
So,
one more thing on The Conjuring too, as we continue chugging along here, um, reading the criticism, people saying it felt familiar compared to the original. The Conjuring 2's got a great little twist in it. So
mm,
if you remember, the Warrens leave after seeing video footage of the daughter, setting things up, and it's like she's faking it. If anybody sees this, they know that she's faking it,
hmm
and they have to go. But then it's like, why was she faking? Because the demon said that she would kill everybody if she didn't get them out of the house. Yeah. And that's where we get introduced to our nun in The Conjuring 2 as well.
yes, in a
So,
very creepy. And the thing is, if I'm not,
yeah.
is that where? Is that the movie where it had the Marvel type ending after the credits and we see the nun kind of?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, creepy stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, fantastic sequel.
It
Yeah.
was Conjuring 1 and 2. If you're, let's just say you don't feel like delving into the series, you cannot go wrong with the Conjuring 1 and 2.
No, you can't. And literally is not one of those ones where it's like, oh yeah, the first one's great and the second one's a little like, no, I think they're both like a great 1-2 combo.
hmm
And you can't say that for a lot of movies in general.
It's
So
very, very hard to pull off a successful sequel these days. I know you
yeah,
didn't like it. I loved Halloween 2018, really did. Very excited. And then Halloween Kills came and it's like, what the hell? What the,
yeah,
we were doing so well here.
yeah. And much like Star Wars. So
Right.
anyway, let's go back to the doll. So now we're in 2017. Once again, a year later, we get Annabelle Creation.
hmm
So now we're set in the 1950s. The prequel follows a doll maker and his wife who open their home to orphans after a tragedy, only for their handmade doll to become a vessel for a demonic entity preying on the girls. Ooh. This one was directed by David S. Sandberg, writer Gary Dauberman, producers Peter Safran, James Wan. So, a lot of familiar names getting in there. Our main
So,
actors, yep.
oh, just to note, David F. Sandberg, he directed, he got big because of that original short Lights Out, like the short Lights Out.
Okay.
was given the full feature later, but um, he's the director of Annabelle creation.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good note, especially, I see that like James Wan coming from the short to big screen.
right.
So grabbing another one. Yeah. Hey, what was Lights Out? Is that what's his evil robot? What's his production?
Oh, James Wan is Atomic Monster.
Atomic Monster. Yeah. So was Lights Out an Atomic Monster movie?
I'll have to look. Well,
Yeah,
let me look
look
that.
that up while I keep talking here. Shout out to our actors and actresses. So we have Stephanie Sigmund, who plays Sister Charlotte, Talitha Bateman, who plays Janice, Lulu Wilson plays Linda, and then that Paisan from Down Under, Anthony LaPaglia, plays Samuel Mullins, who's the father of the family, keeper of the house, blah blah blah. I know, and Miranda Otto as Esther Mullins. Now, do you remember why I said Anthony LaPaglia is that Paisan from Down Under?
I absolutely do. I was reading the Lights Out thing at the same time you were saying it,
Yeah,
but yes, I do.
yeah. I was
That's
gonna get
I'm so glad you pointed that out because I couldn't remember what he was from. And now, like, as soon as you said that, it came immediately back.
yeah. As a Paisan who has Paisan cousins down under,
Is the Little Caesar in Analyze That?
Yep.
Be
Many
fantastic.
of us Paisans down under.
What the hell's and then Robert De Niro? What's this? Oh yeah, come on. We got a lot of poisons down under. Little Caesars, that's like
The show.
the Sopranos type show.
Yeah.
But Joe, again, not to take us off track, another one. Analyze That's a fantastic sequel to Analyze This. I
I was
love it.
just about to say, I was like, when you talk about 1-2 combos, analyze this, analyze that.
But I
Yeah.
did not make that connection. I just knew that guy looked familiar, so that's amazing. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he has a beard in this one, and he's a little like he's older. So bearded, gray. Yeah. Easy to be like, I know you from somewhere. But this one, the follow-up to Annabelle, which had the very poor Rotten Tomatoes, shoots up to 70% Rotten Tomatoes. So seen as a big step up, uh, much more effective tension, and it ties into the larger universe because we get to see the creation of the doll, which comes from that tragedy. Box office 306.6 million worldwide. Like these things are just an absolute moneymaker.
There's no question about it because I wouldn't think that a sequel to a sequel in an expanded universe that's not a Marvel thing. Like, in the comic book universe, people have their favorite characters, right? So, like, you are going to want to see, like, the Green Lantern or whoever the hell. Like, there's Green Lantern fans as there's Spider-Man fans and all that stuff. Like, here in the horror space, we're talking about a new universe. Annabelle's brand new. It's not, it's not Ed and Lorraine proper. It's not a Conjuring movie. It's the follow up to Annabelle, and we get to see
Yeah.
it, and it killed it. No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah. Way creepier and sad.
Yeah.
Like beginning, it's got that pressing piece to it. We're not going to go as far as what's sorry, Esther's first one. But
Oh, Hereditary.
yeah, we're not going to go that far, but it's at least like has a similar like depressing, like you know. I don't want to spoil it because I feel like this is one that I know a lot of people stayed away from. So if you're like hearing it and
Um,
being like, I thought the first Annabelle was dumb, Annabelle Creation is actually really worth a watch. And you don't need to see the first Annabelle to watch it. It's almost like a reset, like
you're
a do over.
That's a really good way to put it. You're right. You do not if if you want to see a scary story featuring the Annabelle doll that has become bigger than the movies themselves, the doll itself that is sold in the horror space, see Annabelle Creation.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we have to say about that. So over to the next one, which is another standalone from the spinoff from The Conjuring 2, we get The Nun 2018. Once again, we're in the 1950s, except we're in Romania. A priest and a novice nun probe a suicide at a secluded abbey, confronting the demonic Valak. a terrifying entity disguised as a nun, and uncovering ancient evils. This one's directed by Corin Hardy, written by Gary Dauberman, producers James Wan, Peter Safran. Our main actors are Damien Bircher, so he plays Father Burke. We have Thaisa Farmiga, who plays Sister Irene. So her role is she's a nun before she takes holy orders.
I think so.
So she's not a nun yet.
I didn't get to see the first Nun before doing the like I saw it in theaters and I've
Yeah.
seen it once since, but it's not fresh in my mind this round. So
Okay.
I can't remember if she yeah, is so you went back and watched it. She's not quite
Well,
the
yeah, no, she's not a nun just yet. So she has not taken her vows. So that's what they keep saying. So I don't know. My brain says like holy order, the sacrament of holy orders. Hmm. You know. Anyway, we got Jonas Bloquette as Frenchie and Bonnie Aarons playing Valak slash the nun. The Nun raked in 366.1 million worldwide and has the lowest of Rotten Tomatoes with a 24%. It's got the mixed reviews. It's gothic atmosphere. Gets which I thought was really good. Criticized for inconsistent plotting and over reliance on jumps. Very fair criticism, but I don't know what else you're expecting in a spin-off movie.
I agree. I don't understand how this one got the hate that it got at the time because I did think it was filmed beautifully. I loved the scenery, like that.
Atmosphere is incredible,
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. It
it's good.
shivers up, shiver. I was getting goosebumps watching it in the theaters. What I remember, even watching it again.
The acting's really good. We are introduced finally proper to Bonnie Aarons as Valak the nun, like, and she's freaking creepy. Like it's creepy stuff. Now, is the story a bit formulaic? Is the payoff, is the final battle, as you will, a little ridiculous? Yes, yes, it is. Um, but I don't think it warrants a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes. I liked this film far more than that. It's not a
I
four, it's not a forebodder, but it's better than 24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I'd bump that up to the 50. It's a coin flip movie for me. You're either gonna like it or you don't. Its biggest issues are its pacing's weird and the ending's kind of like it has everything's good, but I don't know how like if you're sitting there writing it, like how you finish it. It's like everything's really good, but to close it out is quite the challenge, and that's ultimately its demise and why it gets the lower.
No,
But the jumps, I mean, the jumps are great.
I thought so too.
I mean,
Un
some of the unveiling, like it gets so creepy.
yeah.
Eh,
Yep.
you know what it is? It's because it's so different from everything else in the universe, I guess. That doesn't help. Like if you're expecting something more Conjuring-esque, and it's like, well, we have to have something which I guess would be the jump scares, like lots of jump scares.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but hey, I think The Nun is. You should watch it, and you should decide for yourself. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you like good atmospheres and creepy shit, it hits those marks for me.
If you're a completionist, you got to watch the entire universe. Do it. The Nun.
Oh, you're gonna watch The Nun.
Watch it, baby.
Yeah. So let's go on. So now we are getting into the more recent stuff
Mhm.
with we have Annabelle going full trilogy here with Annabelle Comes Home, came out 2019. So the Warren's daughter and her friends accidentally unleash Annabelle and other cursed artifacts from the family's occult room, turning a babysitting night into a supernatural siege. This one directed by Gary Dauberman and written by Gary Dauberman. We got old James and Peter producing again, but hey, here we go. We get McKenna Grace as Judy Warren, Madison Eisman as Mary Ellen, Katie Sarfi as Daniela Rios, and of course we get Appearances from Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
this Annabelle Comes Home is fine. It's better than the original Annabelle, but it is very forgettable. I have
So
seen,
you want to talk about the only thing you have is jump scares?
yeah,
Watch this movie.
right.
That's the only way I can put it.
Kind of get
Uh,
the museum come to life, if you will, during
yeah,
the babysitting expedition.
but here's the thing. I mean, again, a third Annabelle movie, 231.3 million
Yep,
worldwide. Like it's just a cash cow.
it really is.
It's a cash cow, and it just brings in the money. But if I was going to criticize this one, I would go right for relying too heavily on jump scares, and But hey, again, another 200 something million bucks.
Which
Why wouldn't you?
from this we were supposed to get the Crooked Man that never came. But now
Yet,
there's some things you and I got to get into before we wrap up that maybe the Crooked Man, but he doesn't make it into we saw the Crooked Man there, but he doesn't make it into any of the movies after that.
yeah. Well, we'll see. We shall see. We don't know yet. We have not seen the new one. This is again.
We're
We're getting pumped up.
This is the goal of this episode was The Conjuring has come so far. There are 8 movies that we're featuring. The ninth movie in the Conjuring universe is Last Rites. Um, it's available now, and I'm very excited to see it. But the idea of this is to bring you up to speed so that if you haven't seen Last Rites, you will now know where we.
Hmm. Hmm. That leads us to number three of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It 2021. Inspired by a real 1980s case, the Warrens tackle a murder trial claiming demonic possession, uncovering a satanic curse that endangers their own lives amid occult rituals. This one was directed by Michael Chavis, written by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who did the screenplay and story. James Wan obviously gets credit for his story. Producers, once again, James and Peter. Welcome back to Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, but now we are introduced to Rory O'Connor, who plays Arnie Johnson, who's the one who has the devil makeup made him do it. Sarah and Catherine Hook, who plays Debbie Glatzel, and Julian Hillard, who plays David Glatzel. This one, once again, another raking, but not as much, but still, like in 2021, 206.4 million worldwide.
Yeah, I mean,
Not bad, especially for post COVID, like post streamers. This one actually hit theaters at the at a point when theaters were in recovery mode.
say box
So,
office take for films. I mean, not all theaters, not all screens were open even at that.
mhm.
To pull in 200 million, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah. But here we go. This one gets the lowest rating of the three Conjurings, so 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not you know not unexpected for any kind of trilogy. Usually, third gets a lot of flack, but hey, whatever. So the critics they like Wilson and Formiga. Again, great chemistry from the two of them, but it's used as a dip in quality with less focus on haunts and more on procedural elements. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was what I like about this movie is the shakeup. Um, but there are some parts of it that are kind of dumb, but it's different.
It is. There's a very different feel to this one. As you know, I know you and I were probably going to disagree on The Devil Made Me Do It because I know that you actually like the case itself, the story itself. So this is a property that you're already going into saying, okay, it better be done right, right? I went back and watched it to prepare for this episode, and I still felt about what I felt when I watched it the first time. It is a coin flip for me. Like there are some cool parts. The lady's creepy that is kind of causing all the problems. I think that it gets kind of weird as the Warrens have to go figure out what the problem is. It gets just a little. It's almost like a board game. It's like we have these two great actors that have portrayed these characters, and we're familiar with them, and they're just doing a fantastic job, but the story is just not making it for me, you know?
Yeah. Great intro. I mean, the opening to the movie is really good. And it unravels from there. It's I respect the change, but I'm glad there's a fourth one where I think they're going to go back to the formula that worked really well for one and two. I think this was just to try something new, something different, and it is you know, the case in real life. Like I forget what this, I can't remember at the end of the movie because I just watched it too. Because
So
he in real life he it goes down to the charge gets dropped to manslaughter.
yeah,
So, all that says is that you still killed them, but you didn't do it intentionally.
right.
It's
Sorry.
a little crazy.
My studio here, dude, I am
Yeah.
footsteps and things are shaking. Oh man.
Oh yeah, no, it's creepy as shit up there.
Maybe
So
maybe the devil made me do it. Maybe that lady's like the main bad guy is back and oh boy.
uh, doesn't want you doesn't want us talking bad on it.
Bad mouthing that chick. This isn't good. I'm dead serious. There's a change in tone after I said this. I'm about to get a James Wan type jump scare here.
Hey, you just may.
Um, I wanted to like this more after like yes, the case is famous. It does have that heart. You do feel for the main guy that it's happening to, but it just kind of goes off the rails a little too much. They play a little, there's a little too much that they mess around with the story to make it work.
I I agree. I ended up walking away after that second watch, liking it less. So I was like, oof. I
Uh,
think that's all I can say about that is I liked it because it was different, but then it's ultimately, yeah,
and
what are you
hey,
gonna do?
that's fine. So they missed on the first Annabelle, and the reviews reflect it. They missed on the third Conjuring, the reviews reflect it. But to close out before we get to Last Rites, which is where we're going to leave you, we have the Nun too. Now,
Yeah.
um, I watched the Nun 2 going into this for the first time, and I thought it was just fine.
Well, it looks like Rotten Tomatoes agrees with you. So 52% considered an improvement with better scares, and it sticks closely to franchise formulas, which goes back to what I just said, where I think Last Rites is going to go back to what worked. Um, and The Nun was different from the rest of the Conjuring universe, and then making it more like the other Conjuring movies
Yep.
seems to have worked out really well. So the rematch of Sister Irene and Valak in France this time. Oh, oh, oh.
I'll tell you though,
So,
man, Bonnie Aaron's just a little tidbit who plays the nun. Just they make her up so creepy. She does such a great job. Uh, she's been hitting the convention circuit with, oh my God, Barbara Crampton.
hell yeah.
And like it's weird every so we Red River Horror we follow Barbara Crampton of course, and their story anytime they hook up at a convention it's just like they become really good friends, Bonnie Aarons and Barbara Crampton. So it's a little horror nugget for you.
Is that a fun fact? Ain't that a fun fact? No, but I have to admit, this is one that I have had on my list and just have never gotten around to. And it wasn't until like Last Rites was announced, where I'm like, oh, crap, I'm out of the loop.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm missing one. So tried to get to it before we recorded, but just wasn't in the cards. But hey, I'll
um
be watching it soon, and I'll be watching The Conjuring Last Rites soon. But you enjoyed The Nun too,
I
with
did.
the boarding school action.
Yep. Oh my gosh, dude, I am now I know this is an old house. I it is this is whew, we got to get past on Badmouth and Valak. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, it was. I'm not kidding about the bumps in the night here, though. Uh, the boarding school was a good setting for it. There was a lot of opportunity for creepy, shadows and things that are dark in the corner, whether you don't know, if you don't know something's there. Bonnie Aarons as Valak is fantastic, scary, like always on screen, an imposing presence. And I think the story is pretty good. It's a solid story. It has some heart to it, and it has some genuine scares. Thought the Nun 2
Yeah.
was.
All right. So I'm looking forward to watching that because I enjoyed the atmosphere of the first Nun. So I'm like, all right, the Nun 2, let's give it a go. So that'll be my watching very soon before I go see Last Rites. You know, congrats to us. We just completed a full rundown. We refreshed your memory, our memory.
Did.
And Ed, when we talk about Moneymaker, over 2.6 billion in total.
Wow. That's unbelievable. 2.6. So it's New Line Cinema, right? And that's owned
Yeah.
by Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers has, yeah, made
Yeah.
$2.6 billion, and that's without now. Um, we calculated that pre Last Rites.
Yeah,
And
that does not include Last Rites.
no, and this is quite the money maker. But as a whole, when you look at these 8 movies leading up to Last Rites, if you're talking like my opinion, there is much more good than bad. It's a solid series.
Yeah.
That's not just me being optimistic. I think that the critics and the popcorn lovers agree based on the critic scores and the box office take from these films.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy. And we have Last Rites and there's going to be more coming.
Yep.
In what sense? We're not 100% sure. There's, talk of TV series on HBO Max. So that's in pre-development, I think, still, or like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I did print the variety piece. Let me check just so yeah, we're talking 2.6 bill going into Last Rites. Yeah, here it is from Variety. HBO Max series sets Nancy Wan as showrunner. Conjuring TV series currently in development. HBO Max takes a big step forward. Variety has learned exclusively. That's why I printed Variety's story, and this was back on September 9th, that Nancy Wan has boarded the project and serve as writer, executive producer, and showrunner in addition to both Peter Cameron, Cameron Squires. Um, Now, HBO Max has not commented on it, but the show was first reported to be in development back in 2023. So I didn't, our good friend Joe D knows this stuff. I had no idea they were going to be making a Conjuring show. I just figured,
Um,
you know,
at this point of that announcement, it could go either way. Like it might not happen. Um,
and at the time that this piece was written, when Variety learned this, I'm guessing, uh, Nancy Wan is big, and I'm sure it'll say later in the article, what she's.
I
But just for example, this article from Variety came out on the 9th, and Last Rites had already grossed $194 million as of that week.
Oh man, I'm excited to see it. I'm doing everything I can to avoid spoilers. So if you're one of like me and Ed who are behind on The Conjuring Last Rites, go see it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
As for the TV show, I mean, if this continues to crush, I could see it happening. But also, I think where they're a lot of the weight on it moving forward is going to be how well Welcome to Derry does.
Okay. That
So
makes
Welcome to Derry is coming out October 27th, 26th,
and that is going to have Bill Skarsgård as
as Pennywise. Oh man, have you seen the trailer?
yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. This is gonna be fantastic. Bring it on. I cannot wait. But
I
also cannot wait to see Conjuring Last Rites.
Yep. That's a good 1-2 combo.
Yeah.
Our group chat today with our horror friends, 2025 has been something to behold, man. If you're a horror fan, it's been a hell of a year.
Yeah. It's been speak of the devil. I don't know. Look at your phone.
Dude, I am telling you, there is stuff going on up here. I am I'm glad we're edging towards the end of it here. So I guess let's move into what I thought was important because I hadn't known the Warrens going into The Conjuring. Let's cover just some of the real cases. There's three proper films, Conjuring 1, 2, and The Devil Made Me Do It. So let's go into that Perron family, the haunting.
So just for everybody to know, everything else is made up. So outside of the three Conjuring movies, the Nun, Annabelle, like other than the doll itself, Annabelle, everything else is completely fabricated for the sake of the movie franchise. So, anywho, I'll take it from here. So the real life Parent family haunting. So that's the 2013. Obviously, the OG is loosely based on reported experiences of the Perron family in Harrisville, Rhode Island. In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perron moved into an 18th century farmhouse known as the Old Arnold Estate with their five daughters, where they claim to encounter escalating paranormal activity over the next decade, including strange noises, objects moving on their own, foul odors, apparitions of ghosts, and physical attacks. The family attributed much of the malevolence to Bathsheba Sherman, a real 19th century resident of the property, rumored to have been a witch who cursed the land after allegedly sacrificing her infant child to Satan and hanging herself. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved starting in 1973, documenting multiple spirits, some benevolent, others demonic, and attempting a seance that reportedly worsened the situation, leading to an unsuccessful exorcism attempt. The Perrons left the house in 1980, and while they and the Warrens maintain the events were real, skeptics often view the claims as exaggerated or unsubstantiated.
Hmm.
So when you hear the real story, I mean, okay, that sounds like whenever I've heard other people be like, well, you know what? This plate just fell right off the counter. I don't know what it was, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. So I mean, that sounds, yeah, that sounds like a haunted house story to me and a real witch. And um,
yeah.
all right. So that was what was portrayed on screen in the original Conjuring. What about the Enfield poltergeist case?
So in the real life Enfield poltergeist case, so that's based on the Enfield poltergeist, a reported paranormal incident that occurred in Enfield, North London from August 1977 to 1979. It's centered on the Hodgson family, single mother Peggy Hodgson and her four children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy, ages 13, 11, 10, and 7, who lived in a council house at 284 Green Street. The disturbances began on August 30th, 1977, with reports of furniture moving on its own, knocking sounds on the walls, and objects being thrown across rooms. The activity escalated to include Janet levitating, speaking in a deep, gravelly voice, claiming to be a deceased former resident named Bill Wilkins, verified as a real person who died in the house, and physical assaults. The case was primarily investigated by Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair from the Society for Physical Research, who documented over 2,000 incidents, including audio recordings and photographs. Ed and Lorraine Warren visited very briefly in 1978, but their roles exaggerated in the film. They described it as poltergeist activity, possibly involving demonic elements. Police, journalists, and skeptics also witnessed events, though controversy persists. Janet later admitted to faking some occurrences, hence the twist in the movie, about 2%, but maintained most were genuine. While critics attributed to family stress or hoaxing, phenomena reportedly ceased in 1979 after interventions, including attempts at exorcism.
I will tell you, man, reading about this Enfield case and here, I think that I heard, um, did a little digging into this, hearing some of those tapes. I mean, this is the closest thing, at least, that I've ever come to, um, saying like, okay, I think this is real. I think, I mean, something really, really bad happened, and um, whether it's the real life horror of the situation they were in or something otherworldly, this story that The Conjuring 2 is based off of scared me.
Yeah, it's even though like the Warrens are very limited to it. It was definitely worth making the film for it because it just works. It's a very creepy story, and there's enough documented evidence to use. Because I know at the end credits they play some of the actual audio
Yeah. But yeah,
from
that's
it. So
that's where I initially heard it. So
yeah,
I delved deeper, closer to when we saw it, and was
yeah,
creeped out and stopped.
yeah.
So,
There we go. Now we actually go to the third and final one, the Devil Made Me Do It case. So it's based on the trial of the actual Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, a landmark 1981 case in Brookfield, Connecticut, often called The Devil Made Me Do It murder. It began in 1980 when 11-year-old David Glatzel, brother of Johnson's fiancee Debbie Glatzel, exhibited signs of demonic possession, including violent outbursts, growing, and speaking in unknown voices. The Glatzel family sought help from paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who concluded David was possessed by multiple demons and arranged Catholic exorcisms. During one ritual, Johnson reportedly taunted the demon to leave David and enter him instead. On February 16, 1981, Johnson stabbed his landlord and boss, Alan Bono, multiple times during a heated argument at a dog kennel where they worked, leading to Bono's death. Johnson claimed he blacked out and had no memory of the act, attributing it to demonic possession. At trial, his defense team, supported by the Warrens, argued demonic influence as a form of insanity plea, the first claim in legal history. But the judge ruled it as inadmissible, forcing a focus on self defense. Johnson was convicted of first degree manslaughter on November 24th, 1981, and sentenced to 10 to 20 years, but served only about 5 before early release for good behavior in 1986. He married Debbie while he was incarcerated, and they remained together until her death in 2021. The Warrens and the family maintained the supernatural elements were real, but skeptics, including some investigators, suggested psychological issues, family stress, or hoaxing played a role.
uh, again, Joe, with this one in real life, I don't know how you get out in 5 years if there wasn't a pretty damn convincing case made that the devil made him do it. Just saying. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean, as you heard there, so they argued more of the self defense, and it's hard for a dead person to tell their side of the story. You know,
you know,
it comes down to what can you convince? Like, what did you tell the jury, and what do they have to say? So
um, but finally,
compelling.
bonus. So, Joe, if you could tell us what Last Rites, and this is
Yes.
a little close to home for us, but there is obviously this is a proper Conjuring film, the last Conjuring film. It's called The Conjuring, Last Rites, so it is indeed based off of a case.
Yes, and it is the real life, and it's the Smurl haunting case. And so we'll talk about the real one. So that this doesn't get you hype, I don't know what will, especially if you have faith in them going back to the tried and true thing that worked for the first and second film. It's based on the alleged Smurl haunting, a reported demonic infestation in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, from 1974 to 1989. Jack and Janet Smurl, along with their children Dawn, Heather, Shannon, and Karen, claimed their spirit level duplex home was plagued by multiple entities, including a foul mouthed incubus and succubus that caused physical assaults, levitating beds, foul odors, loud noises, and sexual violations, particularly targeting Jack and Janet. The disturbances escalated in the 1980s, affecting family members and even neighbors, leading to the Smurls to seek help from local clergy before contacting Ed and Lorraine Warren in 1986. The Warrens conducted investigations, performed blessings and exorcisms, and concluded it was a powerful demon, possibly linked to the property's history. They documented the case in their 1986 book, The Haunted, co authored with the Smurls, and a 1988 TV movie. The family endured media scrutiny and moved to a new home in 1989 after a final exorcism, where activity reportedly ceased. While the Smurls and Warrens insisted that the events were genuine, skeptics once again attributed them to structural issues in the home, family stress, or possible exaggeration for publicity.
Hmm. Uh,
So,
I don't know, man. The cases that they're based on sound clear enough to me.
yeah.
Uh, Not to say to go either one way or the other, but at least not enough to have that like that conspiratorial monkey on your back where you say, wait a minute. Just like reading these here and honestly being in this situation right here, right now, it's like, okay, um, that sounds creepy. I could totally see it. I'm not bogged down by the skepticism at all at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, pretty interesting. I like how it's going back to the what worked for the first and second one. We're going with a similar storyline to those. I think that's the formula that works the best. Obviously, The Devil Made Me Do It. You pretty much have what would be an ending to the first two be the beginning of that one. So back to the original formula for the Warren family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. And I
Mm.
guess last but not least, so we have the cases that the Conjuring films were based on. We hope the last one in Pennsylvania, by the way, excites you and gets you excited for Last Rites. That sounds freaking creepy.
Mhm.
But the star in real life, as well as the Conjuring universe, is the Annabelle doll. You already told us, Joe. It's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yep.
Lorraine
Just a
Warren.
Raggedy Ann doll that gained notoriety through Ed and Lorraine Warren, who claimed it was possessed by a demonic entity. The story began in 1970 when a 28-year-old nursing student named Donna received it as a birthday gift from her mother. Donna and her roommate Angie soon reported strange occurrences, the doll changing position or rooms on its own, leaving childlike notes like help us on parchment paper they didn't own, and even levitating. Angie's fiance Lou allegedly experienced a nightmare of the doll strangling him and later woke with with seven bloody claw marks on his chest that healed unnaturally fast. A medium consulted by the women claimed the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died on the property years earlier. However, the Warren the Warrens called in after escalating events determined it was a demon masquerading as the girl to gain a human host. They arranged an exorcism of the apartment and took the doll to their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut, where it was locked in glass case with religious inscriptions and periodically blessed, or taking on a picture for Instagram, TikToks, and whatnot with Matt Rife, who was holding it while sitting in a chair because it's his now. So, well, we'll find out if anything happens to him, but let's talk about some deaths attributed to it. So we got the Warrens and supporters. They attribute several misfortunes to the doll, often tied to those mocking or disbelieving in its power. So hey, you take that thing out, you want to take pictures with it, act like it's a joke. Well, let's see what happens to some other people.
Yeah.
Near death during a transport in the 70s while driving the doll home, the Warrens reported car malfunctions like brake failures, which stopped after sprinkling it with holy water.
Okay.
And then we have a priest who mocked the doll's abilities, allegedly totaled his new car shortly after claiming he saw Annabelle in his rearview mirror. He survived, but his vehicle was destroyed.
Hmm.
And then we have a young man who tapped on the doll's case and laughed at its legend, reportedly died in a motorcycle crash on his way home with his girlfriend, who survived, saying that they had been joking about Annabelle at the time. Some other claims include vague references to a fatal accident and incidents like homicide detective being stabbed, leading to an early retirement for them after interacting with the doll, though details are sparse and uncorroborated. So, uncorroborated, sorry. So, 2025, Dan Rivera, a paranormal expert and handler of the doll during the tour, died at age 54 in his hotel room from cardiac issues, ruled natural causes with he had a known heart condition, the doll not present, and no supernatural link was officially claimed, though media noted the coincidence due to association with the Conjuring inspired artifact. Skeptics dismiss these stories as unsubstantiated folklore or hoaxes, pointing a lack of evidence, anonymous victims, and the Warrens' history of exaggeration. Groups like the New England Skeptical Society have called the museum's claims fraudulent. Well, I leave that up to you to decide what you want to believe in because it can either be a lot of fun to buy in and just have some fun with it, or you could just be a curmudgeon and just say, it's fake.
Dude, based on what I'm experiencing tonight, I am not screwing around with the real Annabelle doll. I am not going to mock it. I will not take a picture with it. Um, I just want to see it, because it's so famous. But other than that, I will.
You should post a picture of the walk up the steps to where you're sitting right now at night, because that give people an idea of how creepy your top floor is.
Okay. No, that's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll get
Yeah.
that up there on the social medias.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's yeah. So anyway, I'm not screwing around with the real life Annabelle doll. I'm not gonna be mocking it, dude. I
I
want
would it.
I want to see it, but that's gonna get the best of me.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Wow,
but
man.
yeah, no. Go see Last Rites. We're gonna go see it. Get on. No reason to wait any longer. Let us know how it was. You can find us on all the socials, Red River Horror, on Facebook, Instagram. Go on to redriverhorror.com, read some of Stacy's great articles. Ed, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, it's just hats off to Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson for bringing these characters to life all these years. Me not knowing them, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and me not knowing the stories and how much they've contributed to my horror enjoyment over the years. Um, Pat Wilson and Vera Farmiga have done a great job, and it's weird because just some of that heart that they can draw out in their performances throughout this series. I'm gonna miss them. It's a bit strange to say on a horror podcast where we like to be scared and people are uh, dying
Yeah.
in some gruesome ways and different things, and the real life Annabelle doll not being really that nice. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna miss them. It's this is a chapter that's gonna be closed. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Curious if like the TV series ends up reusing recasting Ed and Lorraine Warren. I don't know what they're gonna do, but
Yeah.
we shall see. But before that, once again, The Conjuring Last Rites, yeah, now in theaters. Check it out. It's gonna be a good one. If you like the first two, you read the description, you see the trailer. I think we're right back in their wheelhouse. This has been episode number 122 of the Red River Horror Podcast. And remember to keep traveling those channels of fear.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Red River Horror Podcast. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, and share. For great written horror content, go to redriverhorror.com. On Spotify or Apple Music, leave us a comment. Or if you have a thought about the show, just email redriverhorror@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and as always, thank you for following those channels of fear.